only wants you to make good beer. And have fun hanging out with your friends. Here's Dono. Today on the program, a revisit of a beer I just made 4 months ago. It is August 22nd or 23rd today. So this was an interesting beer, but ultimately, while I did like this oak smoked wheat, which I can never say, I just wanted to taste it a little more. I wanted to get more of an idea of what this oak smoked wheat was like. So what I did is I used 14 pounds instead of 7. So instead of a 1030 gravity, you can see my rice holes, I should get more of a closer to 1060. So I did the mash. I have 7.5 gallons of about 10 bricks. I have Imperial Dieter, gifted to me from Chip via Imperial. Here's the starter. Here's something I just looked up. So many starters don't have any krausen at all. I mean, I've got like a ring of bubbles. It did change color. I'm sure it's fine. The yeast is like 5 or 6 months old, so you do want to make a starter. But I just find that interesting. The hops, not the star of the show. 1 ounce of Pearl, and then I also have this ounce of Hersbrucker I'll throw in. So yeah, I'm bringing to a boil out in the garage. I've got my overflow. Now 7.4, 7.5 gallons is a lot. I mean, I basically have to reduce that by a third, right, to get down to 5 gallons. So I'm gonna try to do that. I might even boil it a little bit longer out on the burner, but we'll see how this goes. I don't usually do a video of this, but this is 14 pounds of the oak smoked wheat, and it's just 100%. That's what it is. No other grains and no barley whatsoever. So like the Grodziskie, all wheat, but double the amount. And then also, you can see my shadow, a giant bag of rice hulls. I mean, it's a pound, but they're so light that, you know, you can see like the size of it fills up this whole area. So I'm gonna mash all of it together. So I've been boiling for 10 minutes before adding the hops, and I did that because I have so much wort, and I would rather actually end up a little under 5 gallons, because then you can always just top it off if you want. But if you have too much wort, then you will not be at your highest possible gravity because you didn't get down to 5 gallons. Anyway, putting these in, what it was, a combined alpha acid of 3.3 and 5.6, so 8.9. So that's like putting 1 ounce of 8.9 alpha acid. So that's pretty good for a close to 1060 beer. What I'm doing is, I did run some calcs. I doubled the grain exactly from 7 pounds to 14 pounds, but you do not want to double the hops because you will more than double the IBUs. So I'm kind of splitting the difference. So instead of like 2 ounces of 5%, well, that's not true. I do have the what did I say, 8.9. Anyway, I'm not doing full-on double the alpha acids of whatever the first one was, but we'll see. I mean, you know, it's not going to be too bitter. If you do not want a garden update, fast forward 1 to 2 minutes, because I haven't done one for a while, and if you look through this cherry tree, you'll see these sunflowers, which these suckers, I mean, my goodness. So I'll go stand underneath this one And so here's my hand, and that thing is still 3 or 4 feet above my hand, which is probably at about 8 feet. So that's fun. We got some wind today. I got a few carrots in here. I've got a couple of cukes, but my cuke plants didn't, they all do that, so that's not great. I've got the beans coming in, so that's been good. I actually have 5 jars of pickled beans. I just picked yesterday, but you can see all these flowers everywhere. So I'll be into the beans probably for almost 2 more months. I mean, I'll probably get way more than I need, but that's okay. Then I have my lovely, lovely ladies. These things are just incredible, and they're starting to get some kind of, you know, flowering situation. It's that time of year. I got some tomatoes. Peppers didn't do squat, maybe because they didn't get enough sun, because of, as you can see. But final thing is over here. Oh yeah, I got some more sunflowers, and then, like, you know, this one's got actually a kind of a nice size head on it. Looks like somebody's been getting into the seeds, which is fine. And then these ones are the volunteer ones. I can't remember if I pointed these out before. Got lots of little flowers growing on those. I might actually try to crumble up some. Oh, I don't like seeing this. Somebody's trying to get some water. They don't want to eat the tomato. That's annoying. But yeah, so I've got a bunch of tomatoes coming in. I haven't had too many big ones yet. I have been eating these, and they're quite delicious. Couple coneflowers, and then more tomatoes. So I'm gonna have to get at those. I've learned that you gotta pick the tomatoes when they're like this color, because they're done getting anything they need from the plant, and then you can just let them ripen inside, and that helps with them get to the same ripening point. But what's good about it is it gets them away from predators. It gets them away from more water that might make them split. So that's what we're gonna do. So we have good news and not quite as good of news, or some news in general. The good news is I did a good job of decreasing the 7.4, 7.5 gallons down to 5 gallons right on the dot with all of my boiling and my extra boiling and my multiple pots. The not so super great news is it still is only going to be 1054, 55, 56. As always, I'll get a definitive reading, but I don't know, I'm not overly surprised. But for 7 pounds of this same exact stuff, before I got 1030, which I thought that was a little low. So doubling it and getting the right volume, I thought I would maybe get closer to 1060. I mean, it's in the mid to upper 1050s. I don't know. So basically, one takeaway from this malt, it does not have the extract yield that your typical barley, or I feel like even sort of a non-smoked wheat would have. So I wonder if there's anything with the smoking that makes that a little bit lower. But the point now is get it in my tub, get some ice jugs, get some blankets around it, and get it fermenting. So it's the next morning, less than 24 hours after pitching, and I definitely see good signs of it fermenting. I'm not getting the airlock activity, but we've talked about that with these lids, and it said 67 degrees, so I'm gonna swap out the ice jugs and keep it nice and cool. There's another one back in the corner. So here is the beer. I just wanted to do a little shot of this because that looks nice. I mean, it's a lot of wheat, right? You add wheat for head retention, right? But it's not particularly clear, and that is just how it is. I feel like some days it's clearer than others, but not overly clear. Yo, oh yeah, right there, look at that. And I can even, maybe we'll get, oh, that's the screen cap right
Here
there.
comes the smoke. Do 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 do.
All right, so but now I don't have it in the frame, so now I gotta do that. So go back. Let's see. I gotta just do a little. There we
Plan
go.
on working this little spot right here on, like, my eyes are at least blocked.
All right, that should work. I don't think my head will be out, especially if I go all the way back by my friends.
I'm skunking this beer for free.
No. It's September 23rd, 4th-ish today. Did I put it under my armpit again? I cannot keep track of this bloody paper. I really can't. It has been in the keg for almost a month. My comments on kegging day was it's not very clear, and the taste was, okay, but it's gonna need some time. It went from 1055 to 1.011 for an alcohol percentage of 5.8. So, what's interesting to me is, not that interesting, I exactly doubled the grain bill, but I did not get double the gravity or double the alcohol. Close, though. Somewhat close. For that, I would have had to get to 1060, and it would have had to be 6%. So, in the ballpark, but it wasn't.
Are you assuming that's because of the high percentage of the wheat?
I don't know. I don't know why. I didn't really speculate why, but I get less extract out of this wheat than I do, malted barley. So then if you just keep increasing it, like it's kind of makes sense, What else to say? It fermented at 65 to 67 the entire time with the Imperial Dieter yeast. Definitely in the preferred range of that yeast strain. 1 ounce Pearl bittering, also at bittering, 1 ounce of Hirschbrucker. So the combined alpha acid of that was 8.9, so like 1 ounce of an 8.9 alpha acid hop for 60 minutes. So not, crazy, but maybe you would get like a little bit of hop bitterness. I did a whole pound of rice hulls, which I hoped would be enough with 14 pounds of grain instead of 1.4 pounds of rice hulls would be 10% of the amount of wheat I used. But it was okay. I think the first runnings didn't all come out. But instead of worrying about it at that time, I just added the sparge water, and then as far as I recall, like it all came out. I got a lot of wort. I boiled it down in the 2 pots, got 5 gallons, and here we are on a late summer day. We went through we've had really warm weather. We've had a little bit on the cool side. We've had rain, and now here we are. Perfect. 71.
Finally evened out.
Sun is just going below the tree line in the distance.
Hanging out with the Grodfather. So yeah, it's still funny that like when we talked about doing the Imperial Grodziskie, it was just kind of like, in my mind, it would still be like 6, 7, 8%, but like to your point, it's already twice its base beer. You know what I mean? Like it is imperialized even at 5.5.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's kind of funny.
I guess technically you could call it an Imperial Grodziskie, and actually I googled it, and those are out there by that title. People do make that beer as to be funny and cheeky. I mean, just like you can make Imperial Imperial Pilsners. There's Imperial Pilsners as its own thing.
Imperial Milds.
But this is, it is essentially Imperial Grodziskie, but I really did want to try to get a better idea of this in grain, and I will say that I do like it. Now, do I like it more than 100% Beechwood smoked Rauch malt from Weyermann? I don't know. Is it even different? Do you think it's different than that?
I think it is. We talked about before you started rolling. I get like a very woody kind of smoke character, but not a necessarily even like barely a burned wood. It's almost kind of like the difference of a barrel and a charred barrel. Like I get wood out of this beer almost more than I get walloped by smoke. But it is smoke. Yeah. There is smoke in it, and it's got this kind of bitterness, I think.
I think so too.
Supporting it, that would match the Grow. It really is just like big boy Grow. But it's interesting because you do get alcohol in it. It's like the slightest bit of sweetness from that existing, whereas it does barely not exist in its smaller version.
And some of your smoked beers have a little bit of darker malts in there, so that plays into the flavor. So you're getting like coffee and chocolate, but it's not just from the smoke. But this is just pure base malt wheat and the smoke. I get kind of said before too, like a cedar wood. No, I think I like what you're saying about the woodiness more than like burnt, ashy smokiness or your clothes after
It's
the night of a
definitely not
campfire.
like it's not a cherry wood smoke malt. It's not the beech wood. It for sure is not the peat.
I also,
a little more innocent, but still present.
on that note, I feel like if I did not know what this was and somebody gave it to me, I might think it's like a kind of a hazy smoked Helles. You know, because the smoke is kind of light, honestly.
Smoked Keller beer.
If you like smoke flavor and have a tolerance for, I mean, I think I have said I don't think I've ever been served a beer that is too smoky for me to drink, which a lot of people would not be able to say that, and that's absolutely fine. But this is almost like, it is smoky to a point, but it is almost really, ironically, being made with 100% smoked malt, kind of like a starter smoked beer, if you really want to talk about the whole world of smoked beers. Which the Grodziskie is also, you know, it's a light beer, so it's also light on the smoke.
Coincidentally, I think you might have given me my first ever smoked beer back when I lived in Minneapolis, and you dropped off a little care package when I first moved up here. I just remember Elsa being like,
No thanks.
no, double no. She's still no, double no, unless it's like
Light.
a smoked Helles.
Sure. Yeah,
she liked a little of the smoked Doppelbock from like Live Oak, but I think she likes that more because it's like a sweet, big, decadent beer. And after about like the third or fourth sip, she's like, okay.
I bet. Well, I don't know if she drinks porters, but I think my smoked porter, she might like not even detect the smoke character. It's so light.
Yeah.
In that one, that'll be coming up in the near future. But yeah, I'm happy with this. I mean, is this something? Do you think you like this beer, either flavor-wise or mouthfeel-wise, more than like the 3%? You know, Grodziskie, or not, maybe not more than, but like
I probably would say
compare them.
Yeah, I say the original small. There's something about a beer that is that innocent yet so flavorful. I don't know. I'd have to say the original. I do like this, but
Yeah.
out of the two, I think you kind of don't mess with the original a little bit because it's doing something that most beers aren't brave enough to do. Two things, like the smoke level and the session ale that we all claim we're looking for, but then we don't go out and buy a whole lot of.
Well, and like I said in my video on the American Brown, Session American Brown, which was 4.6%, I believe, that, I don't know, I'm not like against a lower alcohol beer, but I kind of either want a NA beer or a 4 to 5% beer.
Interesting.
Maybe. But this is neither of those. Well, no, this is not NA or light. It's 5.8, and I'm liking it. And Beth will drink it. She'll drink it, and she's not a super smoked beer person, but she won't drink stronger, roastier beers. Or if I did have a crazy smoked beer, she probably won't like that. But she will drink this, so that also is just kind of like a point in the favor of like it's pretty approachable. So there you go. It's a little bit of a pain with the lautering, but if you do brew in a bag, or if you just know your system, and if you just know how to deal with 100% wheat, you can make a beer like this. But this is reality, and you know what? I'm drinking it, and it's going down the hatch.
Is this real life?
Thanks for watching.
Is this real life?
Is this a fantasy?